Today I want to introduce you to the BBE Algae Toximeter, a device which is measuring with algae the toxicity of water. And in this instrument, which is controlled by a Windows computer, the center you see algae culture with green algae. The algae culture is the core of this instrument, and so I explain first the algae culture. The algae culture, you see on the back there's illumination which is illuminating the culture for the growth. You see bubbling through the culture solution, which is moving the water around, but also adds CO2 for the growth. On the back here you see a small pump, which is the nutrient pump. It's adding automatically nutrients to the solution here. So when we use algae for the process, it will be refilled to keep the level constant, but also if the growth of the algae is very high, it will dilute the algae culture with the nutrients. So you have at the side, you have a nutrient tank for supplying the nutrients to the process. This is done automatically to keep the amount of algae always at a similar level. These algae were added to sample water, which is taken from outside and mixed with the algae. The algae you see on top, there's a small pump head where you take the algae from the culture into the process, and the bigger pump head you see here, this is for any type of water. Any type, because there's a part here, there's a selection. There are 3 different valves which are selecting the water type. One water type is the sample water itself, which you want to test. The second water type is reference water, which is non-toxic. You have to use it because you compare always the quality of the algae in the non-toxic water to the water in the sample. At least there's a third valve here, which is used for a reference toxin. From time to time, let's say 1 time a day or 2 times a day, you test the sensitivity of the instruments. The algae culture should be always of the same quality, but in reality it may vary over time. So with the reference toxin, you see the response to a defined toxin of a defined concentration. So these are these 3 valves for the selection of the input water. They will be pumped into the process and mixed with the algae from the culture to get a mixture of algae and water. Then this water will be first passed into what we call loops. Wait a second, I open the cabinet. Behind the small door here, you see there is a loop where we store the algae for the solution of algae and a reference water or sample water for a certain time. In the standard configuration, we store it for 20 minutes there, that there is time for the reaction of the algae in the sample or in the reference water to adapt and also to take up the toxin if it's there, and you have a reaction within, in this case, 20 minutes. After this time, the automatic valve control will push this water mixture into this black device here. This is the chlorophyll sensor we use. the sensor is able to determine the concentration of algae, but also the activity of algae. So the activity means how well are the algae performing with their photosynthetic systems. And this is all measured in this black sensor. By this valve control, we can fill the sensor. Later, after the measurement, we take pressurized air to empty the sensor. So in the measuring cycle, one thing is that we first fill the water algae mixture into the loops. In the second step, we will force this water into the sensor, measure it, and after the measurement, the mixture is pressed into the drain by air, and then we rinse the system with clean water. The clean water is the same as reference water, so there's some consumption of reference water, cleaning water, that's exactly the same. In some regions it's tap water, in other regions where you have chlorinated tap water, you have to care to get a reference water which is non-toxic, because chlorination means it can kill algae. Okay, this black sensor is used for every type of measurement. After the measurement, the water is ejected, and then the sensor is cleaned. From time to time, also internally in the sensor, there's a cleaning device which is mechanically cleaning the window of the measuring chamber. That takes place, let's say, every 5 hours. So the system is more or less cleaning itself, but regularly you have to do also some maintenance to care for the cleanliness of the tubes, especially of the storage loops there. And you have also to refill the nutrient solution. The nutrient solution, you have consumption for the process, so you have to say 15 liters within 1 week is possible, but it will vary over time depending on the growth you achieve. So maintenance mainly is somehow cleaning and replacing the nutrients, and also from time to time, but it's only monthly, you have to exchange also the pump tubes, because the pump tubes will be sheared after some time. They will be getting weaker, they pump less, so for precision pumping you need also replacing the pump tubes in all these 3 pumps. Okay, that is mainly the system. You have on top of the instrument is a touchscreen display. Here it's in a cabinet, so there's no touch. You have to open it, and with it would be possible to start and stop and do all the things which you have to do for the operation. This is only the display now. The system is idle. In the operation, it will automatically produce a measured value every 30 minutes. And maybe we move now to this. Here you see that there are several electrical connections possible. There USB ports are here. There's also possibility for network. It can be integrated in network. To get rid of the data, you can take it over network, but there's also here a RS-232 old-fashioned, but it's 100% virus safe. And the other things are also old-fashioned. In this case, 4 to 20 milliampere loops connectors can be connected, and for the output of the alarms, you can also use relay outputs. Alarms means one thing is you have a toxic alarm, you have something, issue with your water, so you get a toxicity alarm. But the other thing is something may be wrong with the system because the algae will not grow well, or the temperature is not okay of the culture. So you get what we call hardware alarm or a process alarm, that something with the process is wrong. This can be also transmitted by a relay output, which is saying, okay, we are in operation or we are not in a good operation condition. So the USB ports you can use for having additional keyboard, or you have additional mouse, or you can store your data on a USB stick. That's the purpose of it. So implementation into the data network, you have several possibilities you can use. A lot of these possibilities are connected to Ethernet connection, and one special issue, which is an option, you can also use the Modbus protocol for implement this type of sensor into your measuring network. Okay, that's more or less the main thing of the algae toximeter. For the moment, it's not an operation, but you see the culture is still bubbling. If you cease the operation, you still can proceed with keeping the culture alive. It's keeping the temperature constant, it's providing light, and it's also providing some nutrients to keep the culture running. In normal operation, it's using, let's say, 50 milliliters an hour of the algae solution for injecting it into the different types of waters. So you have to have a culture here, but you also have to have a culture as spare for operation, and maybe one time you have to replace it after some weeks to get it to a new fine state. What you can see here, for example, on the top you have some particles on the culture. This is normal, and it's normally not affecting the measurement much, but on a certain day it may be possible that you have to replace the culture for a new one. This is pretty green, and it's in a very well state for the moment.